Tracks play. Let's do this.
And really, it's about the training, the awareness, and as a casino operator, that's what I want my people to be aware that these vultures are out there. They're cruising the casino. They're checking out for the weak dealers. You know, that's one of the main kind of really things I took away from the conference. Yeah, there was a lot of great stuff and a lot of technical stuff, but man, that awareness piece and that training piece and that.
Wow, that was very interesting. Notice that?
Yeah, I saw that when Paul was saying how he wants his staff to be aware, and because of vultures are out there. I don't know if you saw your reaction. You went like, "Wow," you know, like did that strike a nerve or something with the cheaters and being considered vultures?
It reminded us of a particular situation.
Well, first of all, I wonder if vultures have the same color combination on their coats as Paul had on the jacket he was wearing at the conference. Well, you know, Bruce, I never really looked at myself as a vulture. I mean, of course, he's referring to cheaters, right? I never really thought of myself
of course you
as
didn't.
a vulture. But the casinos, yeah, they maybe did. But yeah, if I really had an innate reaction like that? Wow, I guess.
What do vultures do? Vultures attack the weak. Right?
The dead. The dead. They attack the dead, right? Yeah. So I guess that was I thinking the casinos, their surveillance was dead, and that's why I attacked. I don't know, but I'll Bruce and Miguel, I'll have to think about that one for a while.
So, Richard, what have you been doing since last time we've talked to you?
Getting ready for a trip to my favorite place, vis-a-vis Paul Malo, right? Italy. You know, I know Paul was there in the spring, and you know, it's my favorite place to go. I've spent several summers there, so I'm gonna go, but I'm waiting to the end of August for it to cool down a little bit, because unfortunately, Italy, like the rest of the planet, is getting hotter and hotter. And, you know, right now they're looking at, you know, the major cities are looking at 100-degree heat, and it's just too much. So I'm looking forward to that trip, and not thinking too much about casinos right now, just hanging out more or less.
Italy is beautiful. My wife and I had a trip planned just before the pandemic. And then the pandemic hits. Pandemic started in March, April. So we had to go and we haven't been able to go. So real soon we'll make it again.
I'm sure you got to do it. I'm sure you will too.
So, Richard, what we didn't really focus on part one was the people who were part of the game side that they had new games. What were some of the new games that took most notice, not just your notice, but the audience? You
know, almost all of the new games, I saw all of them, and they're all really good. And, you know, it's like, we had the contest, best new table game competition. It was won for the third consecutive time by Angel Espino for Pocket Rockets. His game was great, and the layout was tremendous. He had little rockets in the betting circles or shooting out of the betting circles. It was great. And most of the games were poker derivative games, which is, you know, par for the course. And you know, they're all good. It's very hard to understand, or you know, why some appeal to the public more than others, because they're all based on poker. Sometimes I think it's the name of the game that really helps. Pocket Rockets is a great name. There was a craps game or side bet called Muggsy's Corner. You know, Muggsy's Corner, you know, let's all meet at Muggsy's Corner, and it's like a corner bet on craps. Yeah, you know, I thought that was great. There was a very unique game, completely different from all the others, Match 50. It was involving sports with a 52-card deck, and it kind of worked on a negative juice system, which means you're actually hoping that there is no match to get to the highest payouts. And that was a very interesting game. And also, I think it would be a great electronic table game. So, there was a lot of diversity there away from the side bets, away from the poker. There was a lot of diversity in the side bets, which seems to be the thing that catches the industry actually more than the new games themselves. It seems to be the side bets. So, like I said, and the excitement that the competition it was like a giant adrenaline rush for the whole conference. I mean, there was always action, people talking around the new games, and there was always noise coming out of the exhibition area. And then we had the luncheon with Hina, Paul, Nick, and Benny Mancino jumped in there, and it was really entertaining when we gave out the awards. And it was just a great part of the conference.
Yeah, it seemed like there was nothing but action there and a lot of activity, which was your plan. And as I think Nick Ippolito was talking about, he made a point in the previous podcast in part one about look at the amount of people that are out there. Look at it, and going back to the surveillance side or the game protection side, when ARIA was constructed, surveillance was a key portion of how they constructed that to protect it from the cheaters and scams and thieves. And well, one of the things that I thought was very unique, they built these choke points within the casino floor. I don't know if you ever heard that term. These choke points or areas where
everybody has to go through it.
They have to go through it. They compress these areas, and they use these 360 cameras. People go through these compressed areas, these choke areas. These cameras are mounted in position so they can get full facial views of these customers. So when things happen, they know they almost know who they are before it happens, because when they come through these areas, before they even get to the front desk, they might even stop you from coming in because of your history and things. But I thought that was so interesting that they could really have an impact on cheaters, because these are the things that you focus on the other side to prepare for and to block camera angles, and you have people positioned in your team, and distractions and so forth. But they figured out ways with these cameras to get around that.
Well, my only answer to that, Bruce, is if I ever go back, if I ever unretire and go Michael Jordan, and I'm going into the Aria or in any other casino, and I'm walking through those choke points, I'm going like this. No, but seriously, that's a very positive thing for the casino industry, for the game protection. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I had no idea they had gone to the extent that you just pointed out, where, they actually were building the architectural design of the casinos was specifically camera and facial recognition friendly. And, I think that's a great idea, that this combination of architecture and game protection, that the way they're designing the casino space in order to facilitate the cameras there's no detriment to the aesthetics of the casino itself, which I assume there isn't.
No, there's not.
Not. So I think it's a tremendous idea. And that term choke point, it's been around for a while. I remember the first person I ever heard say that was Ted Whiting, the corporate head of surveillance and game protection for MGM Resorts.
Well, yes, he was the person that designed the Aria.
There you go.
Ted Whiting. Yes, that's who I heard it from.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And unfortunately, Ted was supposed to speak at the conference, but unfortunately he couldn't. So, if I actually go ahead and do this conference again, hopefully we'll get Ted there this time. But I'm familiar with the choke point and everything, and it's it's the first line of defense for surveillance.
Mm-hmm. It's getting to a point now that the technology combined with the science and all that, it is taking it to another level, because the technology is there now that as soon as you come into a casino, you got the face recognition. Most of the casinos in Las Vegas have it. So in Atlantic City and then all the major markets. Here in the islands, because of the cost of it, most of the places don't have it. But eventually it's going to get a little cheaper to acquire, and it's going to be there because it's something that you must have. You got to have the ability. It's like when there is a terrorist act. 15, 20 minutes later, they're telling you, oh, it was so and so. Here it is, and here is it coming in, and this is the security point he went through, and this is when he boarded the plane or got into the area. All that is there, and they have access within seconds of the event. So that helps the casino operators to be upbeat and in the forefront of being able to stop these things from happening, or if they do happen, still catch the perpetrators while they're in the house before they leave, and that way safeguard the assets of the property.
Absolutely. I would say like the sooner they catch on to people who are a threat to their casinos, the better. And if they can get any kind of information or a tip off when somebody's walking through the door, they have, like you just said, they'll either apprehend the people and throw them out of the casino before they do any damage, or quickly after they've done a little bit of damage. So I agree with you 100%.
You can recuperate the money or the chips or whatever it is before they leave the property and capture the perpetrator.
Well, holy cow, guys, check this out. Not just that, they're tied in to the network, to the whole city. I mean, there's no city in the country that has more cameras than Las Vegas. Even you're talking about Washington, D.C. The eye in the sky is everywhere. So you leave that property, right away, there's an alert to all of the other properties. And they can probably catch you, that person that stole or whatever, they're going to catch you wherever you're at. They'll catch you at home. They'll get you at the house and take you to the jail. The technology is getting more and more advanced, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. When you think about, I think it was the Golden Gate, when Miguel, we were talking about the catwalks and the two-way mirrors and so forth. The Golden Gate, I remember seeing something where to get to the catwalk, you actually had to go through the roof of the building.
And then come
down, and it was almost like a mine, like a miner's, and like inside of a mine where they had like a cart that the surveillance operator or the catwalk operator would lay on this cart like a trolley track and lay on it and pull through the roof to look down through the glass. I mean, I think it's still there. They don't know if they still use it or not, because there's still mirrors in the old Golden Gate. That struck a nerve too. Look at you, Richard.
I got to tell a story about the Golden Gate. You ready?
Go ahead.
You ready for a good? Okay. Now, no disrespect to the Golden Gate, because right now it's a very nice place. 40 years ago, when I first started cheating casinos,
I'm not even that old. But go ahead.
Well, plus 10 was. And then I used to train people, or I actually got trained there myself too, in casino cheating. We used to use that place as a training ground to test out new moves and everything. So
you weren't working for the casino. You were a cheater back then, you're saying?
Yes. We would actually train our cheating team and new people on the team, how the moves were done. We'd actually do the moves, or sometimes claim the money, sometimes not claim the money.
I like the term. You were a vulture back then. That's the word.
A vulture in training.
Okay.
So then we would go there, and this is back in the late 70s, and the place was really run down at the time, and so we're on a roulette wheel. And we're doing a training session, and I start to talk to one of the supervisors there, and he has no idea what's going on, and he didn't care, or really, if he had an inkling as to what is going on, he didn't care. That's the way it was in that place back then. So we're talking, and one of the guys on our team, he actually went out and he picked up the dolly while I was sitting on a number to show somebody else on our team, all right, here's how you have to pass post the chips under the dolly. And I'm sitting there talking to the supervisor right at the head of the game. And so as we're talking, and like he was telling me his life story, and we were getting along really well. And he says to me, I've been in this business for 25, 30 years, and he said, I've worked in a bunch of toilets, but this place is the toiletest of all the places I worked, a toiletist. And he actually invented a word, toiletist. And to this day, I remember, and I even wrote about that in my book, in my memoirs, American Roulette. I mentioned that. And no disrespect to the Golden Gate. That was a different era, and it's now a.
They were the most educated people that were. A lot of words came out of a lot of people's mouths.
But what I liked about that is that sometimes when you say uneducated people, even sometimes people they make up a word unknowingly. They just don't have a good command of English, and they're not educated, and they make up a word.
That's me. That's me.
But if that were the case with him, they came up with a beauty.
It sounded right.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine to put the word toilet and then add EST. I mean, how good is that? Toiletist.
Wow. So did you ever work with the Tran family back then? The Tran family was infamous, with their scams. They were notorious in how they recruited people to work their scam, which was primarily the false shuffle scam on a mini baccarat table.
They finally got busted. They were doing it for about 4 years, from 2003 to 2007.
What exactly were they doing, Richard? Can you tell us that?
Absolutely. It was a false shuffle scam in baccarat, where they recruited dealers to do a false shuffle, which would preserve the order of the cards from the last shoe to the next shoe, or it didn't have to be the whole shoe. It could just be a slug. 20 hands.
Wow.
And then they would have knowledge of how the cards were going to come out of the shoe for the next deal. And the players would know exactly who's going to win, player or bank, who's going to win those particular hands. And then they come to the table, they fill out all the betting squares, and they bet accordingly, knowing the outcome, and they win a fortune of money. And the they recruited dealers in 30 or 40 different casinos in the US and Canada. They corrupted the dealers, and they got away with this for 4 years. And eventually there were just too many people involved. And plus the organizers, I forget the name of the main guy, Tran, or which Tran it was.
It was Billy Tran, I think.
Yeah, and he had a big mouth. And, in most crimes, most people get caught not because of the crime itself, but because of their mouth and the cell phone. In these days, the cell phone, they talk about it. Mm-hmm. And he got set up by the FBI, and they got caught. But the real funny thing about this is in 2007, when I believe this happened about May of 2007, when they got caught, I didn't hear about it. But then I get an email from a woman from the Toronto Star newspaper in Canada asking me to call her. So I called her, and she says, "Hi, I'm so-and-so from the Toronto Star, and I just wanted to ask you a question. Did you hear about the Tran organization bust?" And I said, "No, what's the Tran organization?" And she told me what it was. And then she said to me, "Do you know anything about the false shuffle scam?" And I said to her, "Well, not much, except I invented it."
Really?
Wow. And she said, "What?" I said, "Well, okay, I'm not 100% sure I invented it, but I wrote about that in my book, which was published a year or two before the Tran organizations started their scam in 2003. Mm-hmm. And I described the scam to the T, because I did it as a dealer in a downtown Las Vegas hotel casino. I did it in 1976. Mm. Okay, I did it. I wrote about it to the T. I described everything, how I fixed up the cards. I fixed up 6 or 7 hands. In those days, the shuffle procedure was a little different. They used to wash the cards. The first thing they would do is take the cards out of the shoe, and they would wash them, just roll the cards around the table and just mix them up face up. Okay, that was the dealing procedure. So I was picking the cards out, arranging the hands, and then I was doing the fall shuffle to protect it. And then my cheating team came in and took the money off the table. It was like $35,000 or $40,000 in a downtown casino in
A lot of money
1976.
downtown. Yeah.
A fortune. And by the way, that's the first cheating move I ever did in a casino. That's how I was recruited. It's all in my book. Everybody can read the book. It's American Roulette. It's all in the book. But anyway, so so was I the actual inventor of the scam? I would say in between maybe and probably, somewhere in between there. I mean, somebody else may have done it, but I did it in 1976. And I'm thinking that, wow, did the trans get the idea from my book? Very possible. My book was very popular. It actually made the bestseller list in the United Kingdom for a week. So it's possible that they actually got the idea from my book.
Richard, excuse me for interrupting, but is that ecosystem still in existence? You know, because it is a moving, living organism. Is it still in existence out there with these people who really have to be prepared for this?
Bruce, I love you. I've done 500 interviews at least, and you are the first person that made this a biological, organic history of ecosystem and casino cheating. So
it is what it is.
So is that ecosystem? You know what? Ecosystems in every form of life forms seem to continue and go on. So my answer is going to be yes.
It is.
Any recent, and have you heard of any major scam going on in any casinos, even within the U.S. or abroad that have been caught or
I did hear of a scam in Switzerland, and Switzerland is not known really for big casinos, but a group of roulette cheats allegedly went into I forget which casino in Switzerland it was, and they went in and they put magnets, some kind of magnet, into the pockets of a roulette wheel, the number pockets. And what it did is, and they did this, they actually had one member of their team take the supervisor attention away from the game, talking to the supervisor while somebody else, because it was while the game was opening up. The game wasn't open yet, but the cover of the wheel cover was off. So the wheel was exposed, and one of the cheats dropped in a few magnets on some of the numbers, which meant that when the ball dropped into the number pocket, the tendency that it would stick or not bounce or bounce out less of a percentage of the time. The actual workings of the scam, I don't know, but that's the basic description of what happened. And then they came in and they played, and they won a lot of money. They won like $30,000 or $40,000, and this happened recently, like a month ago. Supposedly, nobody in the casino was the wiser, and then they did the same thing. They distracted the supervisor again, or somehow, I don't know how they got the magnets out, but I don't recall exactly how they got the attention off the wheel to get the magnets out, or if they came maybe the next day when they were opening up the table again, they took them out, but they got the magnets out. And supposedly they got caught crossing the border out of Switzerland to whatever neighboring country they were crossing to. And customs or immigration agents found something. I don't know if they found devices, magnets, found something that led the casino to find out what happened, and led to the discovery of the scam, which doesn't make sense to me, because I don't know how customs or immigration officer would be able to identify something, how did they put that together? That, okay, this came from a casino. The only thing I could think of, if that part of it is true, the only thing I could think of is maybe they just had something from the casino, like a napkin or a cup or a chip or something. Chips, yeah, something from the casino that, okay, they called the casino, they were suspicious of them, and they called the casino, and the casino said, yeah, those guys were here, they were playing roulette, and maybe they figured out what happened through surveillance video. But anyway, that's the scam. Got $30,000 or euros, which is about euros and dollars are about the same now, and so that's what I heard about. But apart from that, I haven't heard it. Like all the major baccarat scams that we've been hearing about with the digital cameras, that seems, casinos are so well versed about that now, and most major casinos around the world are protecting their cards better. And by that I mean from the second the cards arrive at the casino until they get onto the table and to be if they're pre-shuffled or not pre-shuffled. It seems they have the procedure down, making these digital camera scams more difficult. So that's about it for the major high-tech scams. And also you have to take into account that most of these high-tech baccarat scams, they come out of Macau, and right now, since the pandemic began, Macau really hasn't had much action to speak of anyway. So we may see an increase as we go on.
Closed the casinos again due to the pandemic. This past week, they were closed. But what sometimes puzzles me is, like within the Tran family, they were looking for a full shuffle, slug. You can defeat all that just by changing the cards. I'm a firm believer that I change the cards every shoe, even if the cards weren't used that much. If somebody comes and plays 10 hands and leaves the table, those cards are going to get discarded, and I'm going to bring 8 new decks. Because on the average, we paid roughly 80 cents a deck. So for $6.40, I'm not going to leave myself open to be
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars. Some casinos say, "Oh no, we reuse the cards. They still good. We can use them and reuse them before."
We're working downtown in Vegas, and I was talking to an associate that was the manager at the across the street property. I'm not going to say the name. Yeah, I am. Fremont. And he says, and he came over to visit where I was working at. And so he says, yeah, what are you guys doing? I said, oh, well, they're changing cards now. He says, oh, you changing cards? How many times do you change cards? Oh, we change them every hour. We change them after every 2 hands or after every hand, depending on what kind of game it was. He says, oh, no, we don't change the cards for a couple of days. You guys, you Jersey guys, man, I tell you, hermetically seal the decks and all this stuff. You guys are crazy. It cost the house tons of money. You guys are, but that was amazing.
Well, you guys are 100% right. And Miguel, I'm sure that all the casinos where you guys are right now are doing just that, throwing the cards out. But sure. I just want to point out that the risk now, most casinos, I believe, are doing that. They're not reusing the cards, especially in baccarat. But the threat is that first shoe, protecting that. That's why it's so important to protect the cards when they enter the casino, when they come from the manufacturer to the casino, because a lot of these big scams, the biggest one of all time, which I believe is the Crown Casino scam in Australia, where they got like 30 or 40 million, very quickly. That originated. The cards were controlled by the cheats, the inside cheats, before they got to from the whole process when they arrived into the casino. So that's where casinos really need to watch out, is to protect the whole process of the movement of the cards. There should always be someone from different departments. Different keys. Like that. Right.
In every place that I work, we put procedures in place to avoid that. You got to have a card and dice room, very limited. Only shift managers can go in there, so that 3 or 4 people are the only ones who have access to the room. Then 2 keys must be used to open the door. Surveillance must be notified before anybody goes in.
The truck that delivers them has a seal that has to be, when it's broken, the accounting, the security is there and everybody's there. Yeah. When they break the seal, the truck to open the door of the truck and so forth. And
all those things, like when I worked in South America, and we have our card orders that we usually got 2 major card orders a year. I would send one of the shift managers to customers to actually view the process of taking the cards out, loading the truck. He made sure that the door was sealed, and he will ride in the truck. With the
There you
driver.
go.
So damn near handcuffed.
Yeah, he would ride in there. So those, and a security guard. So two people, as you say, from different departments, went there and do it always with different people. Nobody knew who was going to go. I decided who would go, and I would shuffle that around. And not always the same security guard, not always the same shift manager. I would decide that when they advised me the cars are coming out of customs tomorrow, I would make my decision that night.
There you go. Cut off any negative planning. You cut off the planning.
Be here in 1 hour, bam, and send them. Because that's as you say, that's where you can get taken. You know, like it puzzled me when I heard that Phil Ivey, when he went to the casinos, to the Borgata, and told him, this is what I want this brand of cards, and I want this done. All the cards come out, then I decide who's going to bet. My friend here is going to run the numbers. He said, wait a minute, why would I do all that for you? Why would I do all that for you? You don't decide what cards I'm going to use. That's number one. It's my equipment. Number two, you don't tell me how the game is going to be dealt. I deal the game. If you want to play with those under those conditions, you're welcome. If not, go somewhere else. Well, they give you that. And if they give you that, oof, I don't want to be the guy who approve all that, because you were either in the scam or you're so dumb that you don't deserve to be in that position.
They're not there anymore, Miguel. There, so
Of course. But
those people that made those decisions aren't there any longer. So that's just
if I'm the top guy above them, I said,
there's a reason.
You were either in the scam, you were either in the scam.
I heard they're at the Golden Gate.
Yeah, you were part of it.
Wait.
Or you were just so dumb.
Yeah.
You should have never left. You should have never gone from dealer to this position. You should have stayed dealing.
But listen, I got breaking news. Breaking news. I want everybody listening to this podcast to know right now, Miguel, this guy sitting right here that we're talking to, this is DB Cooper. This is DB Cooper. If you guys are looking for DB Cooper, he's right here, and we know where he is.
I saw it last night on Netflix.
A lot of people might not know who DB Cooper is.
Tell him who he is. Wait, and we know where he is too. This is DB. Breaking news. Tell him, Miguel, who DB. We got him. Tell him.
DB Cooper was a guy that arrived at the airport one day, bought a ticket cash under the name DB Cooper. Back in those days, you didn't need to show ID.
Dan Cooper. They call him DP later.
Yeah, and he boarded a plane and kidnapped the plane, made a request of so many $100,000, had to be brought in unmarked bills. And then he had a bomb. He asked for 4 parachutes. And at one point at night, when the plane was flying, it was a 727, and 727 had a back door. He opened the back door, put a parachute on, and dropped. And since that was the last time DB Cooper was seen, all it was found was I believe it was in Colorado or somewhere in the Midwest. They found some loose money by a river, and everybody figured he was either dead or didn't make it. The parachute didn't open. But he was never found. He has never been found.
Right here, DB.
But he's here. We did.
This is DB right here.
We found it for you today.
So it's the vulture. He's a vulture.
I heard that DB Cooper was very versatile in making himself be able to speak in dialects that sounded from Latin American countries. So when he spoke English, that's what I heard. Now, Bruce, did you see the Netflix thing on the Netflix show on that?
No.
I swear as I'm sitting here, I saw it last night on Netflix.
Oh, really? Oh, I gotta check it out.
I saw it on Netflix.
I gotta check it out.
What's the name of it?
Yeah, I forget. It's a mini series on DB Cooper, and I saw it last night.
I gotta check it out.
It seems that a lot of investigators seem to have identified one person, Ron Rostrak or something like that. It's a through my tongue.
That it was a military guy.
Yes. It's a great. Yeah, well, check it out. It's on Netflix right now.
This is it, man. Breaking news. All right.
And you notice, Bruce, you notice how Miguel, he's so sharp with the security and the surveillance, right? And with the customs and the handcuffs and the driver and all that. I mean, this is what D.B. Cooper had to know, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be by a guy who's 10 times better than me.
This is
modesty too.
But there's no such thing as overkill. You can't. There's no such thing as overkill because, and some people will say, "Oh, that's ridiculous," because they don't know. And so Richard, right now, if you were to prepare a casino, because there's a few openings that are happening right now. Bristol, Virginia, there's one open. I think there's going to be another one, Rivers and Portsmouth or
The Mirage is going to be renamed as Hard Rock. So.
Yeah, Fontainebleau, right?
No, I'm talking about brand new operations with brand new, local residents, 80% local hires, not, that are trained. This is that prey for those vultures to go to.
Prime
keeps coming back to that word, Miguel. Vultures. He keeps coming back. I'm not a vulture.
Not anymore. You used to be you are what you are. You are you are who you are.
Come on, man. I'm a sparrow, not a vulture. Give me a break.
Okay. With all due respect. But so if you were an operator and you consult for operators, and this is what your business is, Richard Marcus Books at richardmarcusbooks.com. What is it that you could absolutely do to prepare your staff? Because you can put your new hires, and remember, your pit boss didn't make a lateral move to open this casino. He was a floor person at another casino. He's new at a pit boss. The floor person is new as a floor person because they were a dealer somewhere else. You have brand new ice cream scooped dealers because they're local, 80% local residents that they are mandated to hire by the legislature. So they're brand new. So you have 10 or 15% of the dealers are experienced. So they're not paying attention too much because they're busy helping out and so forth. Probably the shift managers are brand new. They probably didn't take a
at least in the position.
Did you say ice cream scooped dealers?
Yeah, this fresh. They're out of the freezer. They're scooped, man. They're just.
I'm gonna remember that ice cream. That's going up there with toiletist. Toiletist. Ice cream. You see, Miguel, you learn a new word. As old as I am, I learn something new every day. Ice cream scoop dealers. Go ahead. Forgive me. Pardon the interruption.
How fresher could you be with a nicely scooped ice cream, vanilla, not even mixed?
Wow.
Licking that ice cream.
Wow.
And
what talent you got?
And so all of these people, it's part of the ecosystem. So all of these people are in these new positions. What better place for scam artists and cheats to go to consume this and make, they don't have to hit really big, a couple of hundred here, a couple thousand here, a couple thousand here. And so what can you do as an operator to prepare your staff? Because no matter how much training you put somebody through, when the real world, when you're out there and the bullets are flying over your head and you're laying on that, crawling through the mud and the barbed wire and everything, you're scared and your emotions take over. So you forget what you learned in school because you're reacting. It's human nature. The blood's pumping and everything. The adrenaline's going. What can you do?
I'm going to tell you what you can do.